Hey everybody, it's Norm from the Alec McNorman Show, and I'm very, very glad to have the one and only, the talented Shir Azari back again, this time on camera, to say hello, Shir, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm so excited to talk to you about everything that's coming up.
You know, I have to say, after our last conversation, I felt kind of bad because nobody on the podcast listening was able to see, just how radiant and vibrant and full of life you are. So I love the fact that when we did our face-to-face Zoom calls on our during our degree, that people didn't get to see that and fully appreciate just how wonderful you really are, Shira. So I'm very glad to be able to, for people to be able to put the face to the name.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
Very good. So as we talked about just before we started the podcast here, so what's new with Shir?
Well, I have a lot that's new. First, to start off, there is a new song coming out. I don't have a set date yet, but I definitely know that I want to release it sometime in the fall. So between September and October. Once I have it ready, I will post it on my Instagram. And of course, I can give you my handles at the end of the podcast, but my Instagram is at Shir Azari Music. And so this song, I can tell you the title of it. It's called Beauty from Within. And I wrote this around the same time that I wrote Not Alone. And I actually wanted to release the song last year, but unfortunately, with life and financials getting in the way and gas prices, increasing here in Canada, at least, then, I had to put my finances somewhere else. But now I've received funding, which we'll talk about later as well, from the government of Canada. And that has helped me a lot in, recording and producing this next single that I'm going to release soon.
That's so amazing that, like a lot of people who, I talk to on a daily basis, let alone, most people have never met anybody that's released a single, let alone you're going to release your second single, which, by the way, for those of you that don't remember from season 1, the podcast Not Alone, or not podcast, sorry, but I'll edit that later. Mm-hmm. The single Not Alone that Shir put out, I honestly thought was a great song, championing mental health, and I honestly believe that Bell Media should actually pick it up and use it for their Bell Let's Talk campaign, because it's a beautiful song about mental health issues and how people who, no matter how many times you go through mental health issues, and I've been through them myself, sure, I know you have as well. Yes. You are never alone. There's always help out there, and please get out there and seek the help and get the help that you require. But this song that you're going to release in the fall, is it along the same lines, or is it kind of different?
It's a little bit different. It's called Beauty from Within because I wrote it as, I guess, like I don't know how to describe it, but it came from my past of being bullied when I was younger. I was always like alienated, left out. People judged me too quickly. I mean, even now I go and meet new people and people judge me by the way that I look, or how I present myself versus who I am on the inside. So for example, like, it might be the stupidest example, but this is what I go through recently now as an adult. I love wearing lots of makeup. Not every day, but like when I go, to parties and meet new people, to events, things like that. I just love experimenting with makeup. And so when people see me, I don't know what goes through their head, but what I feel, the energy coming off of them, it feels like they're categorizing me as someone who's not intellectual, who, doesn't have great education, someone that's very like preppy and spoiled and, completely opposite of who I actually am. Before, when I was younger, like back in school, I had people bullying me for being stupid, for being slow because I had a learning disability, and then some people even called me like ugly, which is probably why now I resort to makeup. So there's just been a lot of things that people have been saying about me and, to me and to other people that I've heard behind my back throughout my life. And the song is kind of like, uh, I don't know. Again, I don't know how to describe it, but what I want to say is it's kind of like an FU to the bullies. It's kind of like, look at me, for who I am on the inside. Look at my beauty from within, pretty
Yeah.
much.
You know what? That's fantastic. And by the way, this is a safe space, so you can actually say "fuck you" to
Okay,
the
thank
people. You
you.
don't have to say "f you." It's kind of an Alec McNorman trade thing. Like dropping the f bombs is what I've been known for like the majority of my life. So that's all good. But this sessions live thing that you're on, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's funny because I actually got, I guess, scouted for it. I got an email from the founder of Sessions, I would say over 6 months ago now. Um, and I'm always very skeptical in opening things like that because I get a lot of spam like that. So there's like emails that I get from Spotify, not really, where they're like, "You've been curated for this playlist," and I immediately delete them because I know it's spam. This one, however, this email looked more legit. So I didn't click on anything. I'm not one to do that. But I read the email. I Googled what the founder's name was. I think it's Tim something. I have to look at that. I'm so sorry. But he's the founder of some other stuff, and he was all over like Billboard 100, Rolling Stones website. So I was like, okay, this man is legit, but is the man that's on the article the actual man that emailed me? So then I Googled Sessions Live, and I realized that it is a real platform. They're just starting out. I think this is their third year now, and they're coming out with a bang. So basically, what one of my friends said is it's kind of like Twitch for musicians. So basically, as an artist, I would go on using OBS streaming, connect it to Sessions Live, and that's where I'll be able to obviously stream as well as view all the comments, have my audio go through with my microphone. So it's not like it's not like a Facebook or Instagram where I'm just using my phone and then I'm using whatever sound is in the room. Like, this is professional equipment. I actually have my stand right behind me. It's blurred out. So all of that connects through the OBS streaming software, and then it goes through to Sessions. And then you as an audience member, that's where you can see and hear everything in like perfect quality. As far as how it goes with like payment, I guess it's the first platform that I've ever earned some money on. Pretty much as an audience member, you can send loves, lightnings, diamonds, whatever, and they each cost a certain amount of money. Now, I would never ask or force anyone to pay anything. It's just up to you if you want to just sit there and listen, or if you want to add, loves. But pretty much anything that you send me that's monetary, I get it in like a Sessions bank. And I think it's over a certain limit that I'm able to actually cash it out. So far I made about $150 off of Sessions Live, which is great.
Nice. Well, that should be good for at least one production session, maybe recording session.
No, not
No.
even close.
So for those of us that were born in the 60s, like myself, so like I do know that I have a buddy of mine who's a DJ on Twitch. So what's the difference between Twitch and Sessions Live? Like, so you're saying that you can't go on to Twitch and actually do what you do on Sessions Live?
I think I can. I just never tried because I
Oh,
always
okay.
associated Twitch with gaming. I mean, I've recently learned that musicians are all over Twitch as well. But I
Okay.
think for me personally, Sessions has been working. It's not as popular as Twitch, so there's more room to grow. I feel like it's a two-sided coin. On one side, it's Twitch and Facebook and Instagram and all that is so saturated with other people that I feel like I have no space. However, on the other side, there's always room for new artists. So it's just harder to get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I personally see success with Sessions. So I'm going to keep going with it.
Cool. So what about this other one too? I got two more here I got to talk to you about. So one is TikTok.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that are coming out on TikTok. In fact, I actually broke down and made myself a TikTok account. I haven't put anything out there yet. I'm thinking about doing that. But like for me, whenever, I don't know, it's just because maybe because my age or whatever, I don't know. But whenever I go on a TikTok, it's like, people want to show me their boobs and stuff, and that's not what I'm into. So it's weird. I show Linda all the time. I'm like, look, babe, like what? Where the hell is all this coming from? Like, where else? So I
You have
don't
to
know anything
follow
about
all
it.
the dog accounts and all the cleaning accounts and
Uh,
the reorganizing accounts.
okay. So, but is that something that like is it like Instagram where you can only put like a 1 minute snippet on, or can you put a whole song on, or like how does that work?
So TikTok, it works a little differently. And Instagram Reels is actually competing with TikTok in the sense where, from what I know, TikToks, you can upload 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and now 10 minutes of video.
Okay.
So you can choose how long you want to film for. And then on top of the film that you have or the content that you have, there's also a little sound button where you can add music. So you can either add like currently trending music, you can add any song that you search for, or let's say if my song is on TikTok, I don't know how people add songs, but if for any reason my song is on TikTok, which I will try to do, I can link that sound to the video. So for example, I can sing 30 seconds of my song, but like lip sync it because I want the actual song to be playing. And then I can say, hey, check out my new single. Like I've seen a lot of people doing that where they're just like in the bathroom rocking out to their song, but it's really the actual song playing on the TikTok app rather than where they are filming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's something that you are aware of, but you're not really into that space yet, and that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because with TikTok, I feel for me personally, I have to plan a lot of the content that I put out. Sometimes when I just sing and post, I mean, it feels kind of cringy. And I do have a bunch of TikToks that are like that from a couple of years ago, where you'll just see me standing there trying to sing a riff of some sort. And, maybe you'll think it's amazing, but for me, I think it's super cringy. But
yeah, well, you are your own worst critic, right? So
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I think you're talented. I think you got a beautiful voice, and
Thank you.
so, but I'm kind of biased because we share the same degree. So, but so other than that, the only other platform I was thinking about talking about with you is a buddy of mine who's actually my neighbor in the next trailer over. He's on a thing called giving gigs on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it seems to be pretty good. So he does, but he does the same thing. So he gets on there and he takes his guitar and he starts singing. And I don't know if it's monetized or what, but he has a great time. He sits outside by the fire and has the camera going and he's singing tunes. People seem to be like responding to him live or whatever. So I don't know if that's something else you want to look at, but it's called Giving Gigs on Facebook. I can send you the link after if you want. But
sure, yeah, that would be great.
Looks, yeah, anytime, any way that we can get your talent out there, I'm all for. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool. So that's all that I have for those things. Now, the next one is you'd mentioned that you were with Factor Canada now. So you had to apply for that. And of course, I knew that you were going to get it because you're super talented and your songs are awesome.
Thank you.
But okay, so tell us a little bit more about Factor Canada. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Factor Canada is pretty much a grant given by the government of Canada. Now, they have a bunch of grants that you can apply for. The one that I specifically applied for was developing artist. So pretty much you can apply to that as many times as you want throughout your musical career, but you can only receive it twice. So this is my first time receiving it. And if I decide to receive it again or get it again, I'll apply. And then, so this specific grant gives me $2,000 towards developing my artistry. So, recording, producing, whatever I want to do with it. However, when you apply, it's very strict. So actually, this is my second time applying, first time receiving. So that's also why I couldn't release the song last year, because the demo that I recorded was specifically for the application. So the contract I had with the producer was to only finish producing the song once I had to factor funding. So there's that as well. But pretty much Factor is a very serious thing for independent artists in Canada. If you're known as a Factor funded artist, people in the industry will say, oh my God, you're serious, you're talented. They wanted to fund you for something because they believe in you. They can see something, brewing within you and your music career. So I felt really, really great when I got the acceptance letter. But you have to apply with not only, your artist name, your song and your demo and your lyrics and all that, but you also need like supporting documents from the producer. You actually need to type out the lyrics for them, any other supporting documents that prove to them that you're serious about this and you're not just trying to get free money. And you also need to set up a business plan, and you need to write out your budget and what you're going to be spending the money on. And then after you receive the funding, you have a halfway point report, I guess. So they pretty much check in on you to see how your project's doing, how much money you've spent so far, all of that. And then at the end of the term, I think it's about 1 year, at the end of the term, that's when you send in your final report with any receipts that you have that show that you spent the factor funded money on what you initially wanted to spend it on. So it's definitely something super serious, and I'm really excited to be a part of, the factor funded artist community. And hopefully after this, I mean, if I don't get this one again, hopefully I can move up to the next one, which is called juried sound recording, and that is for up to $10,000 for a whole album. So
Nice.
I'm hoping to do that too.
Yeah, no,
one thing at a time.
That'd be great. So yeah, well, that's actually funny because me and my opinion of the government, and I find it interesting that they're actually trying to find out where the money is going for this type of thing, but yet they'll throw billions of dollars into the space. But anyway, but we'll move away from the political. But no, that's great. It sounds like a very worthwhile endeavor, and although it is labor intensive, from what it sounds like, but it shows to me anyway, like one of the reasons why the government makes it like way is because if you're not serious of it, you're gonna fucking not finish the application process, and then that saves them money. But obviously people like yourself, they're driven and motivated, talented, and beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's like I'm great. Like I have zero issues. I have a lot of issues with how my taxpayer dollars are being spent, but I have zero issues in trying to there's a word that I'm trying to think of here. It starts with C. Anyway.
I don't know. If I knew, I would have helped you.
Yeah, it's like foster Canadian talent. Like I said, like I'm a little bit older than yourself, not a lot, but a little. And I still say, like, a lot of times, like, there's some bands like that we had in Canada in the 80s and 90s that just kicked ass and never made it anywhere outside of Canada because they just didn't have the kind of backing that I'm glad that we're now putting money into artists like yourself to try to get you guys out there. And I'll do whatever I can to get you out there too, because I honestly believe in it. I hate to see talent wasted, and I'm glad that we actually have this kind of thing in Canada. So I'm really hoping that you do get to the next level and get an album out, and I still want a t-shirt, by the way. I haven't got one yet, so but when I do, I'm gonna wear it all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
worries.
I'll
try to design some more because my Not Alone shirts are not being produced anymore, but maybe you'll get another one for Beauty from Within, or with my album coming up, whenever that comes out.
There you go. Great.
Yeah.
So before we get into the next part, which is your acting career that I know that we talked about last year, would you like to sing a couple of bars of your song? Can you do that?
Yeah,
or are you allowed to?
Yeah, I can. I'll sing a cappella though, because my keyboard is just on the side here chilling, and I'm at my computer, so there's no way for me to
no
turn
worries.
it over. But I can sing a little bit of the chorus, so just to get that in there.
Sounds good. Okay, well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Shir Azari with a few bars of her new song,
Beauty from Within.
Beauty from Within. Here we go.
Thank you. Okay. Don't rip my scars deeper. You look at me like I'm some sort of creature coming out of the backwoods of the night. You're so wrong if you think you're right. Reflecting on what has been. Can you see my beauty from within?
Very good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
In
very
the
much for
actual
that.
recording, I'm like belting, but it's going to be great. There's a lot of power behind this song. And I told the producer as well, like, give it some oomph when you listen to it. I want them to feel what I feel when I'm singing this. And so it's definitely something worth feeling. Like, I don't know if it's just
Nice.
me, but I cry every time I listen to it because I'm proud of myself, one, first of all, but second of all, just the feeling that he was able to put into the music behind my voice was amazing. And that's why I go to professional producers, because I can't do that myself.
No, and it's funny because like since I've been doing the podcast and stuff and learning a little bit more about producing and stuff, I was like first of all, one of my first things that I thought of was like, can you imagine the guy, trying to produce David Bowie? Like, how do you tell David Bowie that, you know what, I need a little bit more out of you? Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. But producing is an art, and I never really realized until I really got into behind the music stuff, and I read David Grohl's book and stuff like that, who's from Nirvana and Foo Fighters and stuff, and it's just like it's funny how producers can actually pull stuff out of the singer, the artist, the lyrics that really weren't intended to begin with. So I have a whole new respect for producers, and I like the fact that you're like, I'll put this out there, but hey, producer, take what I've done and like make it this. And I don't have that vision, and I think it's amazing that other people do. So for you to be able to say, this is what I've done, like this is what my voice is, but I want my voice to be this. That's amazing. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
So not only do you have great writing abilities and your singing abilities are awesome, as I know, we're not going to go touch on to your fashion stuff any longer. But you're in my mind, you're a triple threat. You're a singer songwriter, you're an actress, and you're a fashion designer as well. Now you don't do the fashion as much anymore, but you're still into acting. So, and you said that you're in a production right now.
Yeah. So this year is my third year with this production. I call them Unsung Heroes. And pretty much what they do is for the show, it's kind of like a musical, but instead of it being like a story and then in the middle of the story you burst into song, it's actually a medley of different songs for a specific theme that raises money for that theme every year. So for example, this year we're raising money for dementia and Alzheimer's. So a lot of the songs are on the theme of memories and, your story of life. So we have a few songs that represent the beginning of life, a few songs that represent, your elementary school, high school life, a few songs that represent, like the after, when you get married and have kids, all that, and then when you grow old. And we actually have a few special guests we have a retirement home that is specific for elderly who have dementia and Alzheimer's. They're called Baycrest. So we actually have some staff from Baycrest that are a part of the show this year, which is really cool. And so last year we raised money for youth with mental health issues and suicide prevention. And then the year before that, we raised money for Camp Ooch, which is pretty much a camp for kids with cancer. So every year there's a new cause that we're raising money for. So all ticket sales go towards that, cause for the year. If you don't want to come and see the show and you just want to donate, you can do that as well. And there's also sponsorship packages for those who want to actually spend a little more than just, $50 to $100. They can spend between $2,500 to $50,000, depending on how big the business is. But yeah, all proceeds go to that cause. And so it's really fun because it's the same process as, going into a musical where you have to audition, and then they place you in certain songs, and you either get solos or ensembles. And so it's really nice because last year, since the theme was mental health and, you know, suicide prevention, they actually let me sing my song Not Alone on stage.
Oh, nice.
Which was pretty cool. Yeah. And this year there's more cast. Instead of 20 people, there's about 30 people. So I'm in a few less songs than last year, but that's okay. I still have a bunch of solos that I'm very excited for.
Nice, good for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny that you mentioned that because number one, I would like to skip over the history of my school years. Like that's just out the window for me. And as far as dementia and stuff goes, yeah, like uh, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and my parents had some mental health issues and stuff before they passed and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's near and dear to my heart, and I really appreciate how you're not only taking your talent to try to make a career for yourself, but also giving back to the community. I think that's awesome, and that's why like I can't gush enough about you enough, Shir. I think you're an
Aw,
amazing young woman, and
thank you.
I really really hope that you know people will watch this cut podcast and actually
They
start looking
will. They
and looking
will.
after your stuff and all that. So other than
Yeah.
so like and oh, sorry, that was the other thing I want to say too is like there's nothing
Mhm.
that I hate more than watching a musical and like people just walking down the street and then bursting into song. That just never happens to me. I do it in the in the mall or like shopping with Linda and stuff, and she just like walks away and rolls her eyes, but that's just how it goes, right? But
Right.
but that's great. So like so for your acting career, like do you take courses or anything, or do you just is this another one of your natural talents that you tapped into?
Well, it's I guess I have two answers for this. So one, I mean, I've been in musicals all my life. And so specifically with Unsung Heroes, that's something that I stumbled upon myself. Although I do have an agent for acting too. So that's the other response I was gonna go with as well. So pretty much my agent, she works with me to find auditions for like commercials, TV shows, and film, but I'm actually going to ask her to give me more theater production auditions because that's where my strong suit is. I do have a couple of acting classes under my belt with Bob Luke Studios. So Bob Luke is a very well-known acting coach from New York. So a lot of the coaching was done virtually through Zoom. And so I've done a couple of classes with him. Now he does more like film and TV, acting coaching, because it's very different from musical coaching. Like
Mhm.
if you're on in theater, you have to be super extra, super loud so that people in the back can hear you and see you, and it's like overacting in a sense.
Mhm.
With TV and film and commercials, it's more subtle movements of your face, very subtle tones of voices. Like I'm definitely not that great at the subtlety. I'm, even just in reality, I'm very animated, and I'm pretty sure you're seeing that right now. Like I move my eyebrows a lot, I move my cheeks a lot, like so
Mm.
it's really hard for me to be serious sometimes, which is why theater fits me better. I'm definitely a more loud type of
Yeah,
person.
it might surprise you to know that I actually in grade 12, I was in a production. It wasn't a musical, but it was a production called The Rhymers of Eldritch, and I played the town drunk, if you can believe it.
I think
So
you can play that pretty well.
anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to you and your yeah. So that'd be great. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to see more theatrical productions of you, and your next one that you headline in Toronto will definitely come down and watch it for sure.
Thank you. I hope one day to be a part of a Mervis production. I don't know if anybody saw And Juliet here in Toronto, but oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, I've always wanted to be in a Mervish production, and after seeing that, I really want to be in a Mervish production.
And
Mervish
what?
is pretty much like Broadway, but for
Okay.
Toronto. Yeah,
What was the name of the show?
it's called And Juliet. So it's kind of like a spin-off of Romeo and Juliet. It's basically they advertise it as the story of Juliet after Romeo, pretty much. So
Ah,
yeah, and it's really nice because it's not so, like historical. It's more modern. So they have a couple of songs like Roar from Katy Perry, or Baby One More Time for Britney Spears, Domino from Jessie J. So like they have modern songs that they spin off into the story, and it's really, really cute. So
Okay, I'm a little
yeah.
bit confused because I thought Romeo and Juliet both committed suicide, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
so apparently in the show, it's Juliet lived,
Oh,
and then it's
nice.
like her life after. Yeah. So they did a little spin-off there. I mean, it is, I think the show stopped running on the 14th. They were here for about a month. But it was amazing. Oh my goodness. If I could go again, I would. But yeah, I really want to be a part of that.
Nice. Well, I hope it works out for you because yeah,
Thank you.
I definitely see you being up on the stage and belting out tunes to the people in the back row. And
Thank
basically
you.
that's the only ticket I could afford, so I'll be in the back row. Unless you want to, pull some strings and get me behind the stage and visit
I
you and
can
stuff
try.
like that.
With
Awesome.
Unsung Heroes, I can probably do it. That's kind of like my Mervish productions at this point until I actually get onto Mervish. So
Nice. Awesome.
yeah.
That's good. So now that we've got caught up and stuff, what's next? So other than trying to get into theater and stuff, and you're working on your next production to get your album out. What else you got on the boiler?
Well, I mean, I still have a day job, so that's why it's kind of hard doing all the music stuff, but I am still cracking away at it after my job, on the weekends, any free time that I have. And recording an album definitely takes a lot of time and a lot of money. So I'm hoping to apply for another grant with Factor Canada for that. But if not, I have a little backup up my sleeve. I'm hoping to maybe record an acoustic version of my album first,
Nice.
where I have very minimal production skills that I think is just good enough to produce and release an acoustic version of my album before fully spending $10,000+ for a producer to produce everything.
Wow, it's
And I
that
got the
much, eh?
idea. Yeah, it's a lot. It depending on who you go to. So the producer that I worked with for Beauty from Within, he's been in the industry for 30+ years. And he's very good at what he does, and you'll hear it in Beauty from Within. Like he's amazing. But he charges like $30,000 for an album. So I don't have that money right now.
No, I guess not.
No. So depending on where you go, it could be more, it could be less. He's definitely one of the more expensive producers that I've met with. But some of them around Toronto, tend to be around 10 to 15,000. But still, it's a lot of money that
Hmm.
I can potentially save and use for my future with kids and things like that. So
Hmm.
pretty much at this point, I think I am skilled enough to do an acoustic album. And I got the idea from one of my fans slash friends. I can say she's more of a fan and an acquaintance, and she's amazing. I've worked with her in one fashion show before. And we only rekindled our friendship after Not Alone came out, and she was a huge fan of mine. So I'm very thankful for her.
Hmm.
But yeah, she said, hey, what about an acoustic version of this song? And so I performed an acoustic version live on my Facebook and Instagram back when, through COVID. And that gave me the idea of, hey, let's release an acoustic album. And so I was like, if I release an acoustic album, will you listen to it? She said, of course, yeah. So I'm pretty sure if she said yes, other people will say yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so I'm going to be working on that.
Yeah, and if there's anything I can do to help with some distribution on that, let me know, and I'll tap into the
Thank
three
you.
listeners of the show. I think I'm up to like 12 subscribers now, but
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure after this it's going to triple.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're really great at what you do. I'm pretty sure that you're going to grow super quickly too. So,
Well, I hope so.
yeah,
I have nothing else to do in my retirement, so this is my retirement plan. So
this is your
it-
creative outlet. It's
this is
good.
it. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
my way of trying to stay engaged with society,
Hmm.
and you know what, and like I said, I was super excited to meet people like you when I did my degree,
Yeah.
and like it actually did give me a little bit of renewed hope in the youth of Canada, because after spending 30 years in the military and stuff, and being in the little box that I was in, I didn't really have a whole lot of experience with what's going on out there. So I really enjoyed doing my degree with people like yourself, that gave me different perspectives and new ways of looking at things. And so I owe you a debt of gratitude for that. And also, I really hope that you continue on with your music and acting career. And when you're like rich and famous one day, I want to be able to say, I knew her when.
Of course, I'll definitely give you a huge shout out. I'll say, hey, Alec Norman was here when I was only like in my first couple years of my
Exactly.
career. So
Great.
yeah.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, with that, do you have anything else you want to talk about, Shir? Or
As far as right now, no, I think I poured my heart out, and I really hope that your listeners enjoy this episode. If they want to follow me on social media, it's at Shir Azari Music on all platforms. So it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, anything you can think of. And Sessions Live, of course. I post a lot of my Sessions Live shows and advertisements on my Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to see when the next show is coming up, just go to my Instagram. I am currently resetting my setup for Sessions Live, so my next show might be in the next couple of weeks. But normally I try to do one every I would say 2 weeks, if not every month. There's a few little festivals that I go to with Sessions Live. It's about a 15-minute show, so those I try to do on a regular basis. And then I have my own show on my own page for 1 hour, and those are the ones that are about once a month. So if you want to catch me on there, then follow my Instagram to find out when I'm there again.
sounds good. All right, everybody. So there you go. There's another episode of the Alec Norman Show in the books, and with the lovely and talented and beautiful inside and out, Shir Azari.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you
Shir.
so much for having me.